certain monies being mentioned, does it make your heart go bim, bim? I don't know. But that's what happens to me every time that I hear that certain monies are being missing, misappropriated, mentioned, stolen, lost and not found, swallowed by a snake or a monkey, I don't know, a gorilla, even a gazelle, a horse, a chimpanzee, whatever it may be, right? And on this premise, I wish to welcome you to Eagles Morning Risers breakfast show. And yes, this is Eagles Outlook, where we talk politics and current affairs. My name is Udwak Daniel, and yes, we are looking into the Auditor-General uncovering 197 billion naira contract fraud in MDAs, right? And that's what we are looking at. I mean, when I hear these monies, it always makes me wonder every now and then when we go all out to make borrowings from the IMF, from the World Bank, from China, from whoever. And I wonder, why do we have to go this length of borrowing if we have these kinds of monies that are somewhat or seemingly unaccounted for? 197.72 billion naira. That's the exact amount. 0.72 billion naira. Now, the Auditor General's recent report has uncovered a staggering 197.72 billion naira contract fraud across various ministries. Now, departments and agencies, MDAs, that is in Nigeria. Now, this revelation is a clear indication of the rampant corruption and mismanagement of funds that has plagued Nigeria's public sector. If you also recall, some time ago, right, we had the conversation that bordered around, is it the EFCC now, inviting over, the former Ebonyi State governor, right, in the person of Okowa, right? Yeah, Okowa was invited for how much now? I can't really place it, but I mean, it was a huge amount of money. And, he went there, he got there, of course, all of the, paperwork now, all of the questioning and all of that. And now he is out. Or, well, is it really out? But I mean, that conversation is still ongoing. That's my point exactly, right? But it really beats my imagination, I mean, every time. If you also recall, there was a time that we heard about, is it 100 million naira that was supposedly meant for, is it the Ministry of Humanitarian? Humanitarian. That money was supposed to be for a contract. Yeah, but that money was just kept in hold in an account, undisclosed, unknown account, just there. And now we just recently again, we have seen the situation where there has also been a report of, the socio-economic and right and transparency, or accountability projects. Now, SERAP are also urging President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to investigate the alleged mismanagement of 57 billion naira. Billion! We'll keep calling billions. In the Humanitarian Affairs Ministry. This one, of course, again, right? Now, this situation is raising three very strong concerns. But then, let's look at these two stories together, right? First of all, we have seen where the Auditor General has come up with a recent report uncovering a staggering 197.72 billion naira contract fraud across various ministries. Now, the report is also exposing irregular, payments for contracts, with the Transport Ministry being a major culprit, having spent public funds without following due process. Now, this lack of transparency and accountability is unacceptable, and it does highlight, the need for urgent reforms. Now, the Auditor General's office has also been tasked with auditing the financial statements of the federal government, and this report is a testament to their efforts in uncovering corruption and promoting transparency. We're going to get wary of talking about these issues. I mean, just to look at, the place where the SERAP is also calling out, the president to reach out to the AGF, to also summoning all the financial crimes commissions heads to look into or investigate an alleged mismanagement of 57 billion naira in humanitarian affairs ministry. I mean, some of these things, when you look at it, it raises a couple of questions. I mean, one of such would be the alleged mismanagement of funds. Another would be the potential for corruption. Another would be the impact on vulnerable populations. These are the concerns. So if you ask me, I'd be like, what measures will the government take to ensure transparency and accountability in the management of public funds? What measures are there to be taken in that regard, right? What measures, or rather, what measures will the government also take to ensure that the vulnerable populations receive the humanitarian assistance they need? I mean, despite the alleged mismanagement of funds, right? And then you might also want to look at a place of how can the government, or how will the government ensure that those responsible, for the alleged mismanagement of funds are held accountable, and that corruption is prevented in the future. You and I know that they say prevention is better than cure. But then when we look at the background, then you want to take, a personal story. The discovery of the 197 billion naira contract fraud has significant implications for the average Nigerian. And it has implications for you. It has implications for me. It has implications even on the economy. It has implications for everything. Just recently, of course, the president is also looking out, is making an appeal to make some borrowing to still fund or finance the 2024 budget. And quite a number of persons are already asking, questions. I mean, I've also heard experts come on this very platform to talk to us, economists, fine economists, have come here to share their thoughts on what they think should be the way out. Some, in fact, one prominent one that I have, encountered, I had a conversation with him, a guest on, this particular platform show, had said, if you want to borrow, okay, fine. I'm not against borrowing. Borrowing is what drives businesses and all of that. But then borrow so much so that it is sufficient to tackle head on all of these infrastructural deficits, the challenges that we face. Maybe if you borrow 100 trillion naira and you say it is for 2025 budget, and then you go all out and face head on the different ailing sectors of the Nigerian economy, including the economy itself. Go to roads, go to infrastructural development, go to housing, go to the school education, go to healthcare. Solve the power riddle that is going on and is lingering on despite efforts by past administrations, including this administration, by the way. Solve it once and for all. Write your name in gold. And when all of these sectors begin to work and the intended revenue is generated, then you know that you've solved these problems, these challenges, and you put in place a system, a structure that works. And this structure runs itself against the backdrop of constitutionalism. That way, Whoever is found culprit, naturally, because there is a working system and structure, will go for it, will face the music, the full wrath of the law. I think Agbakuba is the son. He also, gave that thought line. But here we are. We are being taken aback every now and then. We don't have money. We are so poor. Yeah, we have so much resources, but then we still have monies hidden or kept. So much so that we have to go on a discovery tour. A discovery tour to start to discover where these monies were. Imagine 197 billion naira contract fraud, they're being discovered. Ministries, departments, and agencies, public sector. No, this is not even about the president anymore. This is the public sector. And look at where we are. I mean, many citizens have expressed, frustration, the disappointment with the government's inability to provide basic amenities and services. But how will the government even do that if in the public sector or within the public sector, we are just discovering this one. We don't know how many much more is left to be discovered. Now, a personal account from a Nigerian citizen highlights the, human impact of the issue. Now, this person, as I had an interview with, the person in regards to this conversation, says, I'm a small business owner and I've struggled to access, basic amenities like electricity and water. Now, the discovery of this massive contract fraud is, according to him, a slap in the face. It's clear the government is more interested in lining their pockets than in serving the people. Now, that is an average Nigerian. That is you and I talking right there. That's just one view as well. Imagine the other views of our other family members spread across the 36 states of the Federation. Imagine the face that this also gives us on the international scene. Here we are saying, hey, we want to fight corruption, we're doing our best and all of that. And yet, very well-meaning Nigerians out there who are also trying to keep the flag flying are being judged as thieves, as, name it. Crime people with crime tendencies, as they put it these days. You have the tendency, you've not committed a crime, but they say you have a tendency of committing it because of where you're coming from. Well, to join the conversation this morning, though, would be our guest, who is in the person of Mr. Benedict Olalekon Agunloye. He's an information professional, policy and public affairs analyst. Now, Mr. Benedict, good morning and welcome to the Prog Show this morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, well, Mr. Benedict, there's no news anymore. I mean, there's been a discovery. The Auditor-General's report has exposed several instances of contract fraud, including inflated contracts, ghost projects, and embezzlement of funds. I mean, the report also mentioned that some MDAs failed to provide adequate documentation for contracts, making it difficult to track, expenditure of funds. And now, some of the affected agencies include the Bureau of Public Procurement, Corporate Affairs Commission, that is the CAC, Bulk Electricity Trading PLC, and the National Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC. Now, the report also mentioned that 197 billion naira contract fraud was discovered in various MDAs, including the Ministry of Power, Ministry of Works and Housing, and the Ministry of Transportation. Now, what would be the question on my mind? What are the specific measures that the Auditor General's office will take to address contract fraud and as well ensure accountability in affected MDAs? To your mind, in your thoughts.
Well, I think that we need to look at things in the right perspective.
Okay.
Like I would always say, we need to do the right thing, not just to be seen as doing things right.
Right.
I would see the Auditor-General statement as more of speaking for the optics. That's my own condition. and I don't think I take him seriously on that. Why am I saying that? In every agency, in every ministry, you have the guys you call federal auditors, which means they are posted in there from the office of the Auditor-General. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes, please.
So if they are there, what were they doing when those monies were paid without proper documentation? Basically, all processes and procedure goes through the audit, and the auditors are there on ground, and then the payment goes through the wrong way without the right documentation, and then the same man is coming back months or a whole year or years after to come and tell us that processes were not followed. What were his men doing at the time? Who were his men responsible to have ensured that those things did not happen? Has he queried them? Are they standing trial for negligence of duty? If those things are not done, then we are all just speaking for the optics. We are trying to be seen as doing things right. And you know, I always say that about Serap. If Serap thinks something has happened, rather than banding the federal government all the time, the president possibly has immunity, but no Director General in Nigeria has immunity. So if you sue the Director General on behalf of the federal government, right? And then it will be the Director General directly answering question, not the office of the Attorney General, not the office of the President. So until we allow these things to percolate down, which is, you are wrong in NRC, I don't have to wait until I get the Minister of Power or the President to ask questions. NRC has done this, I think it is wrong, and I am going to court to challenge it. So until we are ready to make records available, until we are ready to be sincere and transparent, we, in my opinion, we are just doing the optics, and we are trying to make the optics look nice, when indeed it is actually not nice. So if you, because these spendings, there were budgets, I want to believe there were budgets, even if they come from borrowing or they come from grants. A grant coming into the government or a government agency should first of all have called in, and there should be a budget before it is being expended. And so if it is not complying with the budget, the auditors on ground should have asked questions. Where they fail to ask questions, rather than dragging the president, I think the auditors should be the one standing behind back. And then they should be the one going to jail because it is their professional negligence. Until we get to that level of responsibility, I think we'll just be wasting time and time around.
Well, talking about the level of responsibility, let me ask you, Mr. Benedict, do you still think that we still have upright people, manning certain positions within the public, sector or offices? Do you think? Why am I asking this? I'm asking this because it is said that borrowing is not a bad idea. That even business people borrow to get their businesses running and all of that. But then there are some thoughts that say that this whopping 197 billion naira contract fraud would have emanated from certain monies that has been borrowed to handle or to cater for societal or infrastructural developmental projects. And yet these monies have been kept annulled. They have been, somewhat looted. They've been, hidden away, right? And then we are now discovering it. I mean, as if it's a discovery series. I mean, there's a lot of discovery going on these days, all right? It will suffice to add the fact that just recently, too, on the dailies this morning, earlier, we saw that the Socioeconomic Rights, and Accountability Project is also calling on the president and saying, investigate, bring about your AGF. Let the AGF coordinate all the Financial Crimes Commission. They should look into an alleged mismanagement or stealing of 57 billion naira in humanitarian affairs ministry. I mean, this situation raises concerns that go to alleged mismanagement of funds. It goes to matters that concern potential for corruption. It goes to issues that impact on vulnerable populations. Mr. Benedict, who should we really hold accountable now? Is it the president? Or is it those who have been saddled with the responsibility of disbursing these monies and using it for the projects that it's meant for? And do we even have upright people within the public's, sector these days anymore?
Well, if you ask me, everybody has got his own responsibility, and in all cases, you will need to hold the accounting officer responsible. Somebody is responsible for bringing in the loan. Somebody is supposed to be responsible for having a list of what this money is meant for. So if the budget is not run, you blame the budget office. If the projects are not monitored, of course, whichever department is responsible for monitoring and evaluation should take the blame. But largely, if the comment is coming from Serap or the Auditor-General, I will say that I have my reservation on those two. Why? Because before the crime was fully consummated, they were in position to have made the noise. You don't wait for a child to fall and get injured before you say the child is sitting in the wrong place. So we have been on that wrong precipice for some time. If these bodies were taken, they were supposed to be budgeted. There should have been a list of priorities and how they have to be applied. Now, quarterly or whatever peer review period they have said should be in place to ensure that the monies were not going the wrong way. Now, if the parameters were not set and were not in place and were not available prior to disbursement of funds, then you will blame those who are responsible for coordination.
Right.
So sometimes it is not the operation man. The operation man on the field can decide to be stupid, right? Mm-hmm. But then you that is in the office doing the plan is meant to guide the operational or the operation man from going too wide away from his field of play. Yes, they are the players, but there is a coach somewhere. There is a referee somewhere. I think we should take it that way. That auditors are more like the referee, right? The managers are more like the coach. So if the coach will allow their players to misbehave, the referee should not what? Allow them to misbehave. But where the referee and the coach has failed and the player has failed, I think that everybody should be punished at their level. So the auditors who should have audited who didn't trigger the alarm when the events were happening under their nose should be punished. As to competence, I don't think I doubt that, right? But as to taking responsibility is where the issues are. But then, and so if people go to jail, if we begin to send people to jail for negligence, because to come and say, 160 billion is missing in the office of the Accountant General, and you say, procedures are enough. Okay, bring up the vouchers that moved this money. Which accountant signed them? The agreement that followed it. Which lawyer drafted them in the ministry? Which legal officer in the ministry drafted them? Take the accountant and the legal officer, throw them into jail. Next time, when a new Director General comes and is trying to play those strands, I think that the accountant and the legal officers on ground will use their head. They will know that those who were on the seat before them are now in jail, right?
Right.
For obeying law, for taking actions that were not so legal, even though it was an instruction from a higher authority, they may say.
Yeah, but Mr. Benedict, right? Nigerians always still ask that in the end, what's next? After you've thrown them in jail and then we leave them there for a while, it seems as though they are given privileges here and there, and then what next? And they're sent back, to the public.
When you throw a young professional in jail, his career has been dented. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. I'm not talking about throwing politicians in jail.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about the accountants, the account officers, the schedule officers, right? The legal officers. When they go to jail, even if it is 2 years, when they come back, even if they get reinstated into the civil service, they would have lost seniority.
That's one.
And they will have a record that is dented. So it is something that has to do with their future. I'm talking about us nipping it in the bud, dealing with people that still have a future.
But don't we have a system? Yes, but don't we also have a system that upholds such elements even after they've served time and allows them to again find relevance within the political scene? I mean, because we're still tackling corruption here. There's no way that we can talk about these issues that we don't talk about corruption. The very act of even discovering this amount of money is an act of corruption.
The truth is this: if people are not getting punished, we are not applying sanctions. We are only pretending to be applying. Like I said, up to now, in the Accountant General issue, the last Accountant General issue where you were talking about several billion taken for training without proper this and that. If some accountants and assistant directors have gone to jail, you see why you are still trying the big man for his complicity. Those who signed the vouchers, those who signed the agreement, let those ones, they are still civil servants. They are not even political appointees. So within the confines of the law, try them, punish them, give them appropriate sanction, get the regulatory body for auditors to sanction such auditors, get Nigerian Bar Association or the Supreme or the that's the NJC to sanction the lawyers who are involved, get the ICANN or the accounting body to sanction the accountants. If their different bodies are sanctioned there, do you get what I'm saying? Even when they come back, settling back to the system will become relatively difficult because they have been sanctioned and the sanctions are published. And because they have been made example, I am sure that if it becomes a continuous process, their tracking back to the system will become less fluent as it is maybe in the past. The truth in the past is that we have actually never even questioned them. We've always gone for the man at the head. And then once we deal with him and we send him away, we really don't care about all the people that drafted the agreement, that drafted the vouchers. But I'm saying that we should look through the entire process. When there is a fraud, every voucher involved must be queried. And whoever allowed the vouchers to pass without the right thing being done and without proper documentation should be punished.
Well, I'm glad.
Whatever level that they are.
Yeah, I'm glad that, at some point while you were giving your analysis, you used the football pitch scenario, right? Where you said the referee and the players, right? If I'm not mistaken, you did. Yeah? But then there is another thought line that is saying that what if, with the back and forth that might be going between the referees and the players, what if we are not looking at the right direction? What if, take for example, in this case, it was the NFF that we were supposed to be, in fact, looking at. Maybe it started from the very top. Maybe the bickering between the referees and the players was as a result of, or as a reflection of the situation going on with the NFF. Now, let me take it again on a broader note, right? Do you now think that in terms of all of these monies that are being stolen, misappropriated, discovered, stashed away and all of that, that we are responsible enough as a country? Is Nigeria responsible to make borrowings at a time like this, where we know in the end there are a bunch of irresponsible people who would steal these monies, misappropriate these monies, or we know we do not even have the structure or the system that should indeed allow for the proper accountability, transparency, monitoring, and evaluation of these monies?
Well, if you talk about system, I don't think we have issues with system, so to say. But we have issues with record. We have issues with following laid down processes and procedures. We've got the due process and a lot of things in place. But these things have been circumvented. And I am saying that it doesn't matter what has happened. Every level, every investigation should touch every level, and every error should be punished. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you should not punish the DG. Like if you take it back to the football pitch.
Yes, please.
A player is underage or is overage, and you manage him in for an 8th grade competition, right? Mm-hmm. What eventually happens is that what? The federation is sanctioned. Is it not? Mm-hmm. But it does affect the players as well. It does affect everybody in the team. It's kind of. So where there are negligence, the negligence should be punished at all levels. Not that we are looking at the DG alone. No. Punish the DG, punish the director, punish the desk officers. So that subsequent desk officers. Now, I will tell you a story that I personally knew someone who got involved.
Right.
He was possibly responsible for the generators in the army.
All right, Mr. Benedict, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I would like you to save. I would like you to save that thought, that story. You will tell that story definitely, but let's go pay some bills. We'll be right back.
Okay.
With this conversation. Okay. Yes, this is Eagles Morning Rise, and yes, we're still having that conversation with our guest, who is in the person of Mr. Benedict Olalekon Agunloye. Right? Let's go pay some bills. We're right back in a short bit. Don't go away.
Eagles 102.3 FM, Abuja, here to stay.
Wow, this feature phone is so good.
Which phone is that?
It is the ITEL IT5627. It comes with a 2500 mAh battery, which gives you 55 hours of standby use. Type-C charger, triple SIM slot, 3.0-inch screen, plus the 24-month warranty of worry-free use.
Huh? 24 months warranty?
Yes! Go and get yours. ITEL IT5627. New ITEL. New experience.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Please listen to this infomercial.
Hello Nigeria. Hello Africa. Do you want to work in the healthcare sector? Do you want to be a trained, certified nursing assistant, medical assistant, or caregiver? If yes, then register to enroll for Push Africa's 1-year diploma in certified nursing assistance training happening at the African University College of Science and Technology.
Hey there,
Eagles 102.3 FM, Abuja, here to stay.
Please listen to this infomercial.
Hello Nigeria. Hello Africa. Do you want to work in the healthcare sector? Do you want to be a trained, certified nursing assistant, medical assistant, or caregiver? If yes, then register to enroll for Push Africa's 1-year diploma in certified nursing assistance training happening at the African University College of Science and Technology, Abuja. Targeted trainees are unemployed graduates, O-level or ordinary diploma graduates, or anyone interested in working as a support worker in the healthcare sector. For details, log on to www.pushafrica.org or WhatsApp 080-339-42015, 080-550-45801, 080-339-42015, 080-550-45801 for registration.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
I don't need no liquor. I'm intoxicated by you.
My country people, who work is supposed to enjoy you after all the hustle. You not supposed to take your comfort play to fit sleep the way it's supposed to be. Make you go grab a yo-yo Eurofoam mattress. Make you forget your full comfort. Whether na Euro Spring, Euro Orthopedic, or semi-orthopedic, Diamond and Diamond Plus. And for Comfort Pro Max, Eurofoam don't introduce latest in town. That na Euro Elite. This one, they sleep jolly meant no get equal. Eurofoam get quality pillows and sheetings. Eurofoam shop yakpa everywhere for Bodo Nigeria. Eurofoam. Sleep the
102.3 Abuja.
Eagles Morning Rise it is, and yes, it is Eagles New Outlook, and this is where we talk politics and current affairs. We're still looking at the Auditor-General uncovering 197 billion naira, contract fraud in MDAs, and that's what we are looking at this morning. Our guest has been and still is Mr. Benedict Olaleko Agunloye, information professional. He is a policy and public affairs analyst as well. You two can join the conversation right there and do well to call the studio line 0907-353-0044 or 0908-766-8888 and the WhatsApp portal number 0909-705-4450. Also follow across social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Do well to subscribe right there at Eagles FM Abuja, and we will herald your thoughts, right? What would be your thoughts? What would be your, your expression, in this regard as we keep talking about these issues? And do well to ensure that you don't send a voice note via the WhatsApp portal number. Just send your WhatsApp message. Mr. Benedict, are you there?
Yes.
Well, yes, we're still having that conversation, but just before you give us your story or the story that is very close, pertinent to this discourse, let's take this call. Hello and good morning. Hello. Okay, what is going on? All right, well, that's a miss. Do well to call the number 0907-353-0044. Better still, if you find a logjam, do well to just send a WhatsApp portal message or a text message. Mr. Benedict, on to you.
Okay, what I was saying is straightforward. Now, well, I remember the young officer, I think, was responsible for keeping generators. And there was a senior officer who is like what you call the corps commander in today's army. And the corps commander was like, we asked, giving a verbal instruction to get some generators moved, maybe to his friends or some other things like that. And the young officer was like, sir, I will need a document. Just sign any paper, or just, even if it's your card, just something that will say that a written instruction that has been all instructed to move the generators.
Right.
Of course, the senior officer will not, and the young officer did not move the generator. And then the senior officer waited. It was time for promotion appraiser. And I think he wrote the appraiser, and he was the final person to sign before he go to the chief of army staff.
Okay.
And then he wrote on it that this officer is never to be promoted again. And so, I think the chief of army staff then was T.Y. Danjuma. He kept that appraiser, waited until they were doing the chief of army staff conference, and asked the corps commander to explain to everybody the reason why that young officer should not be promoted. Of course, he couldn't explain. And what T.Y. Danjuma did in that meeting was to actually promote the officer 3 months ahead of his mates in that meeting, based on the recommendation of all the others that they know him as diligent and to have been doing his job. Of course, we're talking here of a case between the redneck and the second lieutenant. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, please.
The gap is so wide, but the young man knew exactly what his job was supposed to be. I keep the generator, so I should track their movement. And so if you need me to move them, give me a written instruction which I can file, and then I will move it. And I'm sure that there are still as much competent people across the civil service. Yes, we know there are a number that are unscrupulous. And that's why we are saying when there is a breach and when we need to act, let everybody be punished for their negligence and their oversight. Stop pursuing only the big fish. The small fish also should go for it. So when you do that, the next time, everybody wants to be relatively careful. Everybody that still will be pursuing promotion knows that being reprimanded, being found guilty of official procedures, and going into his file will definitely affect his next line of action. Right. But where everybody has done wrong, and we punish only the DG, and all the people who are involved remain, even when you bring a new DG, they will eventually still do what? They will still box him into the corner, and there might be a change maybe for 2 or 3.
Are you there?
You realize that whatever they were doing will continue as business as usual. But where we will change the business as usual is that for every crime, for every fraud detected, everybody involved, for negligence, for error of commission, for error of omission, irrespective of their level, right, should be tried and be punished to the extent of their culpability.
Is that even possible? Is that even ever possible?
Yeah.
Is that even ever possible?
We realize that more people will become more conscious.
But do you see that
things will be done more decently?
Do you see that being possible in this administration and beyond?
Yeah, that's very possible because the laws are straight. The civil service rules are straight. Everybody has his own KPI. Everybody has his own duty. When they say you are a schedule officer, you have your schedule. So if an error happens out of your schedule and you are the schedule officer, you should be punished. That's what I'm saying. Don't just punish only the head. Let the punishment go down the line so that everybody who participated in pouring the oil away, right, should also have their cloth soiled.
So, Mr. Benedict,
pouring the oil.
Mr. Benedict, if I was a scheduled officer and I was given a letter or notice and saying, given instruction, specific instruction to follow, and I followed it, I should also be punished?
That's what I'm saying. You are given instruction to follow, so the record is with you.
Okay,
right?
I get
so
that.
When they ask you, just like the young officer asking for a written note,
yeah, so you present it. Yeah,
you can then present the written instruction.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is that in a lot of cases, if the instructions are not given, the procedures are not followed, the right things are not done. Sometimes in February or March of the following year, you are still raising vouchers for money spent in November of the previous years. When that happens, right, it's because if there were proper document and record process, I am sure that we should be able to ensure that if the voucher has not been raised, then the money is not meant to be paid.
Right.
And if it has been paid and the auditors allow it, then the auditor, who didn't, particularly the federal auditors who are under the office of the Accountant General of the Federation and deployed into ministries, particularly those ones, if things are not done and they didn't act on it, they should not just be taken out, they should be appropriately sanctioned based on the rules of the civil service. They were there as ambassadors of the Accountant General. How well have they represented him? So if they have misrepresented him there, they should be punished.
Okay. All right.
They return to the Accountant General office and be appropriately reprimanded, and he should report, right? He should report. He should reflect in their respective files and should determine their future growth and relevance on the job.
All right, let's put a breather to your thoughts right there. And I see that you've been trying to put a call through. I see it blink, but I don't know, for some technical issue right there. I can't really, I've been trying, but it's not working. So you know how it goes with technicalities though. But yeah, I want to say to you that please, I want to enjoin you to get across social media platforms right there. Get to the Facebook page wall if you have access to it right now. And if you're doing that, well done, right? Just go underneath the comment section and give me your thoughts. Or better still, pick the WhatsApp portal number 0909-705-4450 and do well to send me, your WhatsApp message, strictly WhatsApp message, and I will herald your thoughts. So let's just get on to seeing, some of these messages that have come in right now. And I see you, Samuel from Kuje, thank you. It says, greetings to you, my brother UD. Good greetings to you too. It says, this thing called corruption is eating us deeply, so deeply in this country. Yes, borrowing is not wrong, but when the money borrowed is not properly utilized for what it was meant for, that is when it becomes wrong and evil to borrow in the first instance. A lot have been happening in that office of the Accountant General, and no good action has been taken against the people who are committing crimes in that office. That is why it seems to be the tradition that anyone that goes there will follow the same pattern, because no one is checkmating them and no punishment is meted against them. It has now become a norm until people are punished for any kind of corruption. Fighting corruption will only be a lip service, right? And now you're saying thank you and asking to have a good day. You too have a good day, my brother Samuel from Kuje. And I see yet another message right now. Let me see. Who would this be now? This is Yusuf, all the way from Wusay too. So Yusuf is saying, good morning, UD, and good morning to your guests. Good morning to you too, my brother Yusuf. It says, Auditor-General uncovers 197 billion naira contract fraud in MDAs. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Unless corruption is killed, corruption will kill Nigeria. Wow, that's strong. The masses of Nigeria have been put in abject poverty by the ruling class. The usual rhetoric is that Nigerians has no money, but you will be surprised. You will be surprised at the level of looting going on at all levels, from local government to federal level. Our revenue from oil, our tax revenue, our borrowings are being looted recklessly, leaving the crumbs for the citizens. At this stage, I recommend the summoning of a national conference on corruption, where Nigerians will have to take a position and agree to either to legalize it or stamp it out by prescribing a severe punishment such as death penalty or life imprisonment for the crime. All right, it says, okay, so I think there's a repetition of your message right there. Okay, thank you, Yusuf, all the way from Wusay 2 right there. And remember, as I said, you can as well get onto the WhatsApp portal number 0909-705-4450. Let me know your thoughts, as the phone lines is a bit fuzzy this morning. Just get on there, or better still, get to the YouTube channel at Eagles FM Abuja and do well to leave a comment, and I will herald your thoughts as well, on this very platform. But Mr. Benedict, let's quickly look into some other aspects, where this is really biting hard. I mean, quite a number of Nigerians are saying that, look, it is insane to want to go borrowing at this point in time, especially when we know that we do not have a system that allows for accountability, transparency, as well as monitoring and evaluation. We do not have people who would be held accountable, who would come out and say that, look, you know what, I was the one there, and I'm making sure that I keep this office, or I keep these monies, or I ensure that this monies will be put into what it is used for. And then it takes you back to the place of oversight, functions of is it the National Assembly now? How properly utilized has that also been? But then what if we look at the economic factors? I mean, 197 billion naira contract fraud. It has significant economic implication for Nigeria. I mean, the country is already struggling with a large budget deficit and a high level of debt. Now, Nigerians will be asking, to know what the potential economic consequences of the contract fraud, could be, and how can the government indeed mitigate its impact on the economy. And then there would be, the place of social factors right there as well, where, it has had significant social implications, where many Nigerians are expressing frustration and disappointment with the government's inability to provide basic amenities and services. And this, of course, is constantly eroding or destroying the bridge of trust between the people or the governed and the government in itself, right? Where questions such as how can the government, address the social implication of the contract fraud and demonstrate a commitment to serving the needs of its citizens, right? And then, of course, when you look at other issues, you might also want to talk about accountability. I know you've mentioned that, time without number in the course of the discourse. You might want to look at the place of transparency, economic implications, of course, we've talked about that. And then the reform. Finally, what reforms are necessary to prevent future instances of contract fraud, as well as ensure that public funds are used for the intended purposes. You might as well want to give us your thoughts as we could put a cap, to the conversation this morning.
Well, I would want to look at it this way. Number one, do we have system in place to do the right thing? The answer is yes.
Do we have it?
But is the system being circumvented?
Right.
The answer is yes.
Okay.
Are there people who are negligent? The answer is yes. Is the National Assembly doing their oversight function rightly? The answer is no. Is SERAP and the other civil society organizations that should help keep government in check, are they all delivering their duties and responsibility right? The answer is no. Now, we all want to speak, like I said, for the optics. Everybody wants to bandy the big figure. Everybody wants to say that there is things being done wrong. But the question is that fundamentally, we have processes and procedures in place that are clearly defined of people's rights and responsibility, duties and procedures in the place of work. For instance, the NFIU is supposed to see transaction of 10 million or 5 million and above happening on the banking platform. So the question would be that, how then are we talking about 198 billion fraud, right? How were the money paid? What question did NFIU ask? What did the bank do? Who were the desk officers? All those questions have got to be properly touchlight. And like I said, everybody from the bank to the ministry to NFIU to CBN should be punished for their negligence. So if for every fraud you punish everybody involved for their various negligence, sometimes it's not even connivance, it's just pure negligence, right? So people should be punished for dereliction of duty. Right. People should be punished for not adhering to processes and procedures. Scheduled officers in the ministry should begin to go to jail. I keep insisting for not doing their job right, rather than just pursuing the DG and the ministers all the time. No, that scheduled officer who is raising voucher in February for money that was spent in November should go to jail. That's negligence of duty. That is fraud.
Right.
That is moral corruption, not even the financial that is involved in it. So people should be punished for not doing their job. There should be consequence for all wrong action. Budget should be transparent. I shouldn't beg to know the budget of any government agency or ministry. National Assembly have scrutinized them and they have approved them. The budget should be available online. The budget should be available in the public libraries.
All right, Mr. Benedict.
The budget should be available in the ministerial libraries in the ministries.
Right.
So it shouldn't be a secret document of some people. Everybody should have access to the budget.
Okay.
And so if the jobs are not done as stated in the budget, then people can begin to ask questions. But when the budget is a grapevine item, when the budget is a classified document, then those who have access to it can afford to do things wrong.
All right, Mr. Benedict.
We need to be more transparent. We need to make our documents available. And we need to hold people responsible for their action.
Very well.
Not just political appointees alone, but even the civil servants, the bank system, the tax system. Because when you say some of this money that
Mr. Benedict,
on them actually paid.
Yeah, Mr. Benedict, we will not be able to go any further, but I really appreciate that. I mean, a strong point you're making right there. And yes, they say that a word is enough for the wise. I mean, it's a great conversation, great discourse. You are an information professional and a policy and public affairs analyst right there. Thank you, far too kind, for adding your voice in the discourse this morning. Appreciate. Right? And yes, to each and every one of us that have tried, to you that listened to, as well as to you that also sent a message talking about Samuel all the way from Kuje, as well as Yusuf from Musay. Thank you, far too kind. Let's make it a day tomorrow again as we go conversational in the discourse, as we talk politics and current affairs. Right? This is me saying have a great day ahead. My name is Udwak Daniel.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
This is Eagles 102.3 News, your number one radio experience you can count on.
Here is the business news. The Monetary Policy Committee